Alright, you guys can start whenever, whoever's.
Okay, everybody. This is Dan Allen. My friends call me Skip. You guys know me by my Facebook name, Dan Skip Allen. I'm going to go down the list. I want everybody, starting with Tyler, Rachel, Rasika, Justin, George, and is that Cal? Yes, it is Cal. Introduce yourselves.
I'm here.
Okay, so everyone, I'm Tyler Myers, admin on the Schmobile Facebook page. Ready to talk Interstellar. Woo woo!
Hey guys, I'm Rachel. I've been on the after show a couple times. Love profiles, love Christopher Nolan, and excited to talk about Interstellar.
Hi, I'm George. I'm Ruskin. Go ahead, George.
I'm George. People know me by Georgie. I love Interstellar. I love movies. What's up?
I'm Ruska. I'm also an admin on Schmoville. Excited to talk about Interstellar.
My name's Justin Bass. You know me as Steve Zizou. I'm an admin on the profiles page and run the brackets every week. And I'm a huge fanboy and mainly just here to listen to you fellas. I don't know what the heck happened.
Cole?
I'm Cole Boone. I just got back from seeing Interstellar. I love Schmoville, and I'm looking forward to talking about this movie.
Cathal, first time we had you in any of our hangouts, so introduce yourself. Or
Hey,
are you frozen?
I'm from Australia. It's Cahal, actually, the pronunciation. It's just a silent T. Irish name. Yeah, just wanted to talk with you guys.
I did.
A bit nervous. First time.
Oh, nothing to be nervous about, bro.
Don't be, man. We're all cool. Okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to make this very, very simple. We're going to do the good, the bad, and the ugly of Interstellar. We were going to start off with everybody's good. And we're going to go right down the line we just went down. Tyler, Rachel, Rasika, Justin, George, Cole, and Kyle. And then we're going to start over again with bad. And then we're going to start over again with ugly. And then if anybody has anything to say after that, we'll use that as the honorable mentions portion of the show. Okay, Tyler, you're up first. What is your good about Interstellar?
Okay, well, first I gotta say that if you've been following me on Twitter or Facebook, you know that this was my most anticipated movie of 2014. I was so looking forward to this movie because hey, I'm a big fan of Christopher Nolan. He's behind some of my favorite films of all time, including The Dark Knight, which is the film that actually made me the film geek that I am today. And had a great cast, has science fiction and wormholes and all that. So I was really looking forward to the film. And after seeing the movie twice, I can tell you right now that I know it has mixed reviews, but I personally love this film. I thought it was a great sci-fi epic. I thought there are many positive things to say about the film, but first, one thing that I know everyone's going to say right now, so I'll just start off the visuals. This movie is a technical marvel. Like, when I saw this movie in IMAX, and I literally felt like I was in space. Just the way the film was shot, the space sequences, just the whole cosmos and galaxies was just mind-blowing to me. Some of the best visuals I've seen probably ever. And so yeah, on a visual and technical standpoint, I thought that was fantastic. The performances were also great. I thought McConaughey gave a fantastic performance, as well as Jessica Chastain. Well, this is spoilers, right?
Yes, this is for anybody watching this. This is a spoiler discussion.
Okay, so yeah, once you realize that, well, first of all, Jessica Chastain will replace older Murph, but the younger Murph, I thought. Go back to Matthew McConaughey. I thought the father-daughter relationship between him and Murph, I thought was excellent.
Mackenzie played young Murph.
Yeah, I thought she was really great. The father-daughter relationship was really excellent, really poignant. And when you realize Jessica Chastain is the older Murph, she also gives a really fantastic performance. really emotional powerhouse. And about the rest of the cast, like Anne Hathaway, the astronaut, she was really good. Michael Caine also gave a great performance. And also another standout was the robot Tars. I thought he was really funny. I thought he was a big standout. Because usually in Christopher Nolan films, it's rare to find a comedic like sidekick or a comedic element, and I thought he played off really subtle and was really brilliant while still being really useful in the film. So yeah, and of course this is like there are a lot of themes like love and faith and all that, and I thought Christopher Nolan tackled those themes really well. Like I know people said he went a little too ambitious, and there were a few moments where I went, wait, what? But that's why I love going to all these films. I like going back to revisit them over and over again because I get something new. And I thought he did really well with the emotional scenes and the technical scenes. And yeah, I thought he really did a great job with the film. I loved it.
All right, Rachel.
I agree. I think the biggest plus of this movie is the experience of it. Like,
Yeah.
I sat through the whole thing. I did not take a restroom break. I sat through the entire set of credits because I just needed time to process it. Like, it is just an experience is the only way to describe it. Edge of your seat, emotionally. Like has already been said, the visuals are just spectacular. My seat literally was rumbling in a lot of the space scenes. I also saw it in IMAX 70 millimeter. And it just took you on a ride and a journey. And even though there's some plot issues and dialogue and stuff, like, it stopped mattering because I was just in it. So when you feel a movie, when you experience a movie, then everything else fades away. And this is right up there with the best of them. Acting top-notch across the board, really sold even some of the clunkier lines. Tars is amazing. He kind of reminded me of Tom Hardy's character in Inception, Eames, with that comedic element, just bring something to it. The 2001 Space Odyssey references were hysterical. Throw him out the airlock. I was dying laughing. Like, it just, the whole thing worked for me as a film-going experience. And I definitely want to see it again in the theater to experience that again.
Jessica.
Oh man, I almost don't know what to say after that. I'll say that I recently saw 2001 just last week for the first time, and that whole week after seeing 2001, I was just transfixed by it, and I was just thinking about that movie so much. And seeing Interstellar, I had pretty much the same experience that I did when seeing 2001. Like you guys just said, the visuals and everything were tremendous, but I also felt like it was Nolan's most emotional film. I was emotionally connected to this movie more than any of his other films. I mean, I don't know. Everything just worked for me. It's really hard to find any flaws in this movie, for me personally, but that's my take.
George.
Yeah, I'm with you, Zeke, man. I saw it today at 11:30 in the morning, IMAX 70 millimeter. Then I saw it again later today in digital. No, I really don't see too many flaws with this movie, and a lot of people are complaining about the science of it and all this other stuff. Well, it's science fiction, first of all. Second of all, going to any spaces, they're going to watch things that you can get to. So, you're blue in the face. But it's a really good movie. It's 2001 plus the human emotion. And, I mean, if I want to say one thing that stuck out for me, it's the whole third act from that docking sequence all the way through him going down into the dimension. It's just so good. Writing is smart, on point, ambitious. Visuals are stunning. The acting's amazing. Like I said, a real standout for me is Mackenzie Ford. That girl goes toe to toe with McConaughey, and she's just as good as Jessica Chastain. And directing, it's outstanding. I really do think it's Christopher Nolan's best. I would say that come 10 years from now, it's going to be on the same pedestal as 2000.
Cool.
Yeah, I really did enjoy this film a lot. There were some, I didn't really have many problems at all. If there were, they were just like nitpicking. But I really enjoyed all the performances. I thought this is McConaughey's just as good here as he was, let's say, in Dallas Buyers Club. Like he really delivered on the emotional parts. I felt like, and he played the everyday man, every man really well. I thought. The visuals were beautiful. The sound too. I want to give props to the sound. Like it was really immersive. I felt like, and I just thought it was a really ambitious film. It's Nolan's most ambitious, and I give him major props for that, for making something so different and unique compared to like Inception, The Prestige, or the Dark Knight trilogy. He's always challenging himself, and as a film fan, that's why we go to the movies to experience something new that we hadn't seen before. So I really enjoyed this movie.
Cathal. How?
Yeah, Kahal, yeah. It's what I really liked about it was the ambition of it. Like like Rasika said, it was like on par with like 2001: A Space Odyssey. It's just like nobody has that clout to make films like that. Really, in this day and age, like to have that much power to like really have a vision and have people believe in it that much that he can actually do it. Like instead of being safe, like every other Hollywood movie like these days. Like how many films do you think there are that people would just have faith, like a studio would just back him? He has that clout. That's what I appreciate about it anyway. And I got to say, like it was a technical marvel, like the film, but there's a lot of criticism out there for it, but people are nitpicking at it, I think, at the moment. But again, I think I have to see it again to really, form a proper opinion of it. But that's all I have to say.
All right, looks like we got a new person in the group. Alex Walsh. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
What's up, buddy?
So Alex,
We're doing good. We're doing the good of Interstellar.
It was my favorite movie of the year for about up until the moment when he fell into the black hole. It was my favorite movie of the year, and then at that moment it sort of lost me the first time I saw it. I still enjoyed it a lot. I think it demands like a 4 out of 5 no matter what. But I'm starting to love it more and more and more. The more I think about it and the more questions I have answered and everything. It's not my favorite of Nolan's. I don't think anything is really ever going to beat The Dark Knight for me for a sentimental value. But I thought it was one of the most breathtaking experiences I've had in a movie by far. And I thought it was the perfect mix of Close Encounters of the Third Kind in 2001. That's my opinion on it.
You need to see it again, Alex.
I'm aware I need to see it again, and I'm sure I won't. I was just blindsided by all of a sudden there's a room multiplied over 1 million times out of nowhere, and I was like I don't get this. A tesseract, isn't that the Marvel thing? I don't get this thing. So
Universe that has issues with that movie is that scene. And
All
I
right,
think
yeah.
Finish what you're gonna say, Alex.
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed it, and I do need to see it again, and I plan on seeing it again. I'll probably see it multiple times.
All right, I'm just gonna go off what Alex said real quick. The Dark Knight is my favorite Christopher Nolan movie. I really enjoyed Interstellar. It would be third on my list if I had to rate Christopher Nolan movies. We just did a profiles after show, and I just talked to the group. You'll see the video up on the profile show very soon. I have to say, I mean, I'm a big fan of Matthew McConaughey, and I really think he does a great job because this is not an easy role to take because of where you have to go, the leaps and bounds that you have to go through to be able to give a performance about this subject matter and where they're going. And a lot of this is just imaginary scenery. You know, they're filming in some enclosed space on a shuttle or something like that, or they're going to Iceland and that's supposedly some far off planet, or they're going to go to Arizona and that's some far off planet or whatever. And so it's really good to see Matthew McConaughey go from his Dallas Buyers Club performance, his Mud performance, his Wolf of Wall Street performance last year, and still be that great actor that we know from last year, and take something that's very hard to do, make it believable, make the people watching the movie believe that your character actually cares about the human race, and that you're trying to get back for your family, but you're also trying to get back for the human race. And I really got that about Interstellar, and I got that about Matthew McConaughey's character Cooper. And the other thing is, Anne Hathaway, she had like a ulterior motive, but then to see her at the end, and she's just setting up a little colony on this planet, and she just seems so sad because she was all alone. And of course, us as the viewers, we know Matthew McConaughey's Cooper is coming to get her and coming to help settle that new planet way out wherever the heck it is. The wormhole thing, or the black hole thing, was very thought out, I think, because if you read interviews and things that Nolan has said and the people that have made the movie said, he really studied what was possible, what could possibly happen in reality if this actually happened. And I really give him a lot of credit for going that extra length to do something that was scientifically possible, and with the gravity and the time and all that kind of stuff. And I think, once again, Matthew McConaughey, he makes this movie work on every level possible. I love Matt Damon popping up, and you don't see Matt Damon pop up as the villain. He came from nowhere, but he's the villain, and it's good to see Matt Damon play the villain. You know, because you don't.
Is he really the villain though? Is he really the villain?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the bad guy.
I mean,
I have something to say about that.
Hold on, one at a time, unless you think Michael Caine is somewhat of a villain. Okay, but now what we're going to do is give our bad.
Let George go.
I just want to bring up the villain thing, because a lot of people have said Matt Damon's character of Dr. Mann is a villain, and there's two sides to that. Yes, what he's doing is horrible. He's also been isolated for all these years. One of the things that Nolan did that was so well in this movie is he showed the best and the worst of mankind in dire straits. So I can't say he's a clear-cut villain or he's a clear-cut good guy. He is just trying to survive, and that's one of the most interesting things about that character and that character popping up. I can't say he's a straight-up villain. It's not that cut and dry, at least in my eyes, and that's one of the things that I thought was so good about the movie as well.
All right, you make a good point, George. You make a very good, valid point, George. Okay, now we're going to go down the bad. If there's anything bad that you thought about Interstellar, just in a few brief words, or a sentence, or whatever, however long you want. We're going to do the same list. Tyler, Rachel, Sika, George, Cole, Kale, and Alex.
Okay, well, I wouldn't say there was anything like really majorly bad with the film, because, like you guys said, this is Nolan's like most ambitious film to date. Like, no question, like there was a lot to process with the film. So, like I said, there was a lot of science talk and a lot of talk about love and faith, and you know, there may have been some exposition with the whole talks about science, but I mean, some of Christopher Nolan's films are known to that, so it didn't bother me that much. The Matt Damon character, like I said, he wasn't like a big problem with me, because, like you said, George, about what is interesting about mankind and all, and what he has to do to that, and hell, he wasn't like a clear-cut villain and all, but he did. Because when he did do like the one thing about when he like grabbed McConaughey down to the hole and all that, like I said, it did seem a little bad, but like you said, it it didn't really bother me too much. But what was ironic, and I heard someone say this, that his name in the film is Dr. Man, and the whole thing about mankind being all evil and all this, it kind of be a little hit over the head a little bit, which, I mean, it wasn't like I said, it didn't really affect my film going experience, but that was one thing that kind of stuck out to me. But I don't know, there was just so much to take in that even the flaws I did have, which are basically kind of nitpicky, it didn't take away from my whole experience watching the film.
Yeah, I agree in terms of, like, if we actually go down the line and we do good, bad, and ugly, I can't think of anything ugly for the movie. Bad is just certain things. Ambitious is the word here. So not every thread that he starts is going to unravel perfectly. He does hit you over the head a number of times, naming his daughter Murphy and then having that whole explanation. Like, I get it. You named her Murphy after Murphy's Law. You don't have to have that whole sit-down talk about it. You don't have to name the guy Dr. Man for me to get that he is another example of how mankind will react in certain extreme situations, and he's sort of the negative side. But, you know, like we said, you can kind of forgive those things. Some other iffy things are just conveniences in the plot. Like, why didn't Michael Caine know that Matthew McConaughey's character was living a days away and he'd be the perfect pilot? You know, like, that seems convenient. Him getting spit out of the black hole right in a very convenient spot where a ship finds him before his air runs out. I know it's because you need to have the father and daughter come back together by the end of the movie because the whole movie is about that relationship. But there's just these little sort of like, oh, that's very convenient that that happened at this moment because, oh, look at the clock, we're at a 2.5-hour movie, so we need to keep going. So the little things like that. But again, they didn't take away from the overall experience.
That's okay.
Well, I couldn't disagree more with that. If I had to say anything bad, I'd maybe say the first 15 minutes before the launch scene, I wasn't completely into it, but that's my biggest. I'm nitpicking there. I mean, it's not too much I can find wrong with this movie. The Dr. Man's character, that whole scene, was probably some of my favorite parts of the movie. In terms of conveniences. I mean, every movie has a convenience. I don't know. I couldn't find too much wrong with this movie, to be honest. That's so wrong.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I got really nothing on this film. It's smart. It's a really smart, ambitious movie, and I can't think of something that I would say, that wasn't good. And if you were to replace it with any other movie that came out this year, I don't think much really stands up to this film as of right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah.
Cole?
Just a couple things. One is just, well, I was watching the movie and they go on to the first planet, the water planet, and they come back and it's been 23 years later. I just didn't believe that Michael Caine's character would be alive after that point still. Like, they didn't show that he aged or anything, but that's just me nitpicking there. But, and my only other problem was, like, I thought Matt Damon was great in the role, but for 5 minutes, I was taken out of the film for a second because they never promoted Matt Damon or anything. They wanted it to be a surprise that he was in the film. So when you see him on screen, you're like, oh, that's Matt Damon, not Dr. Man. So that just took me out for a little bit, but I really liked it. He did a good job with the role, and those are really the only things I noticed during the movie. So no major problems for me.
Hale?
Yeah. I called Matt Damon being in the film because they had him attached to early on, and I thought as soon as they opened the sleep chamber, I knew it was going to be him. So, but bad. I think the film just had so much exposition in scenes. It was just like trying to explain it, but at the same time you wanted to could you repeat that or go back? It's like you blink and you miss it kind of stuff. You know, it's like you had to really pay attention, like the whole the passage of time and relativity and all that. It was just I want a second viewing, so I think I'll enjoy it like on second viewing. Sorry, I'm nervous, guys.
You're fine. You're fine.
Nervous,
okay. Yeah, that's all I can say at the moment that I can think of.
Alex.
Flaws? I mean, honestly, I had more flaws with the movie when I left it than I do now, which is usually the flip of what happens. From a sentimental side, the fact that he misses his daughter's entire life, that's a bummer. But I have trouble coming up with any real flaws. Just like the sign. I thought that the Matt Damon stuff was a little hokey at first, and then I realized that it was man versus man, and then the planet before was man versus nature and all that sort of stuff. And I was like, okay, I'm fine with it then. So I don't really have any flaws with the movie. It's not my favorite movie of the year yet, and it's not my favorite Nolan movie, but that's also saying that there's been some pretty perfect movies this year, and Nolan has made some pretty perfect movies so far. So I don't have any flaws with it, honestly. It's climbing for me.
All right, then. And I'm going to go... I don't like the fact that when we go back to Murph, young Murph, and then Jessica Chastain Murph, and Casey Affleck, I don't like the fact that that's all we're going back to. What? This planet doesn't have more than some old rickety old house in a cornfield? Where is this located? What part of the United States is this? What city? What town? What area? I mean, they never say anything about the rest of the world, and then all of a sudden, they stumble upon a silo in the middle of nowhere in some town that we don't even know where the heck it is. I mean, that to me is a little contrived, and also I don't like. I really applaud Christopher Nolan and his brother and the people that came up with the theory and everything about the gravity and the time in the black hole. But I just thought that was a contrivance. I mean, that it just happens to be where he could see his daughter, and then the older Jessica Chastain, can see the watch and see Stay and put these clues together. I just think that's really too contrived for me. I love this movie, but I just think there were a few parts that were a little disjointed for me. And those are a few of the parts. Now, I know this is going to be hard for you guys. We're going to do an ugly, and if you don't have an ugly, we'll just move on to the next person. But we got to do an ugly, because I know very few movies are The Godfather. Very few movies are Casablanca. They're not perfect. So give me an ugly, unless you don't have one, starting right down the line: Tyler, Rachel, Rasika, George, Cole, Kale, and Alex. And if you don't have one, we'll move to the next person.
Okay, Rachel, next.
Yeah, there's nothing that bad about it. There really isn't. I mean, obviously everybody didn't even like some of the things that I said were bad, so I don't think anybody on this list is going to say anything ugly.
No, I do when I see movies, like, it'd be easy for me to just pick out, like, okay, that doesn't work, okay, it doesn't work, but like I said, one of the flaws that I had with Interstellar are not, like, really major big flaws. I mean, like I said before, the nitpicky with the whole Dr. Man name or the exposition. Yeah, those are the things that kept up for me, like, absolutely perfect, but it still didn't keep me from loving the film and enjoying the hell out of it, so that's what I have to say. But like I hear some people saying that this movie is a quote unquote bad film, which I honestly don't understand. Cause I understand a lot of people may not love the film, but for people saying that it's just flat out bad and say they don't like the film, I can't fathom that. I don't really understand.
Well, I think I don't have anything like that, but I think there, Tyler, this going off of that, I think this year, because I've seen Inherent Vice, which is, I think, PTA's best, and it's also very, very smart. I think we're having a lot of films this year that are smarter than some of the audience. And people just aren't getting it. The science in this movie, like the theory of relativity and the wormholes and all this stuff, is stuff I love. Like I can follow NASA religiously, so I knew a lot of that stuff going in. I can understand people being confused by some of that. On second viewing, you pick up on it more, and I think people do more than it demands repeat viewing. But I can't think anything ugly about this movie. It's 3 hours long, and I saw it twice in one day.
Rashika.
Keep it going. Actually, there was one thing that took me out of the movie with the whole Dr. Mann thing. As soon as the little chamber opened, there was some guy in the back of the theater who was like, "Oh shit, that's Matt Damon."
Oh, that's great.
You know what? That I had a baby in the IMAX screening. That took me out for a second, but
my movie theater didn't turn the lights all the way off. That took me out of it.
That is actually one thing I want to say, because it has nothing to do with the movie, but when I saw the movie yesterday for a second time, I saw it again in IMAX. Right above me, there was this light that was still on throughout the entire film. I was like, why are you not turning the light on? Turn it off! It's not cool!
Cole.
Yeah, nothing ugly. I mean, you could take the two bad things I say and call them ugly, but they're not. So, pass.
I think Casey Affleck's character was really underdeveloped. Like, it was just all about Murph and Cooper the whole time. Like, it's just like, yeah, I mean, like at the end of the movie, Casey Affleck is about ready to kill everyone. And it's like burning down his field, but like they never really established his character well enough, except in the scenes where he was like maybe on the video message about the birth of his kids and all that, because he was the only one really talking to McConaughey in that time. But I mean, Murph had just shut him out. But that's the only time you really felt that he was developed. And also to agree with Dan's point about we're seeing just like a small local sort of place where the farm is set. We're not seeing a global scale of this thing, which is that's kind of my flaw in the film. That's it. That's all I got.
Alex.
To comment on that, Casey Affleck was about to kill everybody. Just a side note, when Topher Grace took out the tire iron, that was great. No, I honestly believe that people. I posted this on Facebook yesterday. Entertainment Weekly posted an article called 15 Maddening Plot Holes in Interstellar, and I was reading through them, and I was going through them. I was like, one of them was like, "Oh, the spaceship is really dirty," and I was like. Okay. But like the thing, I honestly believe that this is just, if it wasn't Nolan, and if it wasn't being called a masterpiece before it came out, I honestly don't think that people would be saying a lot of this stuff that they're saying, because it's the thing where if you tell somebody a movie's a masterpiece, more likely than not that they're not going to see it as a masterpiece then. And I think that I don't know. I think that it's. I read a review from, I think it was The Playlist, and the guy goes, Nolan does amazing visually, but as Michael Bay has proven, visuals don't count for everything.
Oh, my God.
And they also said, Interstellar joins the really bad category of movies, such as Field of Dreams, daddy issues from Ether, and I wanted to be like,
that to me.
I'll send you the link. Yeah. First of all, how dare you insult Field of Dreams? And second of all, how dare you link Christopher Nolan and Michael Bay in the same article? I just don't think that's ugly. That is ugly, but that's about it. The movie doesn't have anything ugly in it, in my opinion.
All right. Now it's my turn, and I want to Alex or Kale said, yeah, what was going on with the Casey Affleck character? I mean, that's just one of my uglies in this movie. Jesus, Pete, if you're gonna have Casey Affleck, give us some actual screen time. Give us some character development in case it just seemed like he was an evil guy, like he didn't care about anything except raising the farm and making the farm. I mean, I just didn't get the whole point of what the heck they were doing with Casey Affleck. The other thing is, how many times does Cooper have to yell, "Get back in the shuttle, get back in the shuttle," and stupid Wes Bentley.
Yeah.
What was Wes? What is the shuttle, Wes Bentley? There's a gigantic 50-foot giant freaking wave. You can't do that way. Oh, Wes Bentley. I mean, you're an idiot. That is so stupid.
That was like Prometheus, where they just run in a straight line when the fish was chasing. Come on.
He was being distracted by Anne Hathaway. He was just staring at her the whole time.
I was going to say he was distracted by a plastic bag flying in the wind.
I mean, what but my main ugly, this is the number one ugly. My ugly is anybody that doesn't give this film the highest possible rating they possibly can. This is an absolute masterpiece of a movie. Even though I kind of nitpicked on some, I absolutely love this movie. I cannot say enough about what a great movie. If this doesn't get an Oscar nomination, if Christopher Nolan doesn't get Best Director nominations, that is one of the most ugliest things I've ever seen in my life, because it's a travesty. This guy is a great filmmaker, and I think the reason he ups himself every time, and the problem is we're all expecting better and better and more every time, and maybe there's just some little nooks and crannies here that weren't as good as maybe The Dark Knight or Inception, but this is a great movie. Please, people, tell people to go see this movie. Spread the word. Interstellar is a great movie. Now, we're going to go down the line one more time. Tyler, Rachel, Rasika, George, Cole, Kale, and Alex. Just give us anything else you have, positive or whatever, little details that you might have about this movie that you want to share.
We want to schmo it too?
Yeah, give us your review. No, this is not affiliated with Schmoes.
Okay.
Just your normal review.
Okay.
Your normal score or whatever you would do. All right, Tyler.
Okay, so overall, I thought Interstellar was, I'll repeat what I said when I tweeted. I thought it was a bold, ambitious, deeply moving, and visually stunning film. I thought this film, it met my expectations. I thought it had great performances. I thought the visuals were outstanding. I bought it the emotion. Some people didn't buy it, but I got choked up a few times in the film. I thought I was never bored throughout the film. And while I'm still debating whether it's my favorite movie of the year, I don't know if I say it's number one exactly, but it is definitely one of the best ones I've seen all this year, and definitely one of the best film-going experiences I've had in a very long time. So I say definitely go see this film, and especially in IMAX.
Yeah, I mean, I will tell anybody and everybody to see it, because it's bottom line about the experience, and it's an amazing experience, nitpicks aside, no matter what. I want to speak to some of the critics seem to be throwing around words like sappy, and I think it's because they just have this expectation from Nolan. A lot of his movies, most of his movies, are a little bit more cold. They're more calculating. Very few have happy endings, or if it's a happy-ish ending, there's sad qualities or qualities of like sacrifice to get there. And this is his happiest ending yet. I mean, father and daughter get reunited, but you need that to happen. He sets it up to be so emotionally invested in them that if you didn't do that, then people would be even more angry about it. So I don't call it sappy. I call it emotional. I call it personal to him, and therefore I think a lot of us felt that coming from it. You know, there's some lines here and there, okay, but like what's so wrong with love is the answer? Like, I'm an optimist. I want to believe that. So I don't understand all the backlash with the sort of negativity with how it's a happy ending and how, you know, love ties into all of it. I actually really like that, and I think Nolan's pushing himself, and I think he should be pushing himself in that direction. So I just say, you know, screw you to the critics who have issues on that front. And yeah, and just it's all about the film going experience, and nobody does it like Nolan. So see it multiple times. I think I'm going to get a lot more out of it the second time.
Yeah, can I say one more thing though?
All right, real quick.
Okay, sorry, real quick. Like you said, it was his most optimistic, and I said it has some comedic elements. One funny thing I thought noticed in the film that I really got a kick out of was near the beginning where Matthew McConaughey's in the school and he's talking to the principal and the teacher, and then he goes up to them and he's like, cause he's talking about Murph's like grades and all that, and then he's all like, "Well, we have a baseball game the next day, but we're gonna get some popcorn, some soda. I think I'm gonna go to that." And then it cuts to the truck. He's like, "What happened?" Like, "I got you suspended." I'm like, "What?" I thought that was funny.
All right, Rasika, go.
Yeah, just going off that, this movie seemed like it had the most humor out of a Nolan film, especially with the robots. Anyway, yeah, I agree with all the points you guys made. I mean, the fact that almost 30% of the critics gave this movie a bad review, that's just plain ridiculous, in my opinion. This is a masterpiece. The more I think about it, when I first left the theater, I really liked it, but I thought Inception and Dark Knight were better. But the more I think about it, the more I'm leaning towards this is Nolan's masterpiece. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those movies that I'm reading stuff online. I'm reading more about relativity and stuff like that. I'm binge watching the Cosmos show because of this movie.
Nice, it's really good.
Yeah, and I'm just loving this movie more and more as I think about it, and I'm excited to see it a second time, see if I like it more or less. And I think it's one of those movies that, like George said, 10 years down the line, it's going to be looked at as something like 2001, for example. So.
George.
So I think two things with this film. I think its two greatest achievements, aside from all the stunning visualizations and stuff that it has. This movie did something that no science fiction film has ever done before. And it took science and it took emotion and it brought them together into a sci-fi film that wove into the science. That has never been done before. Emotion has never been something that's been connected to a sci-fi movie. Science is usually on one end and emotion is usually on the other. Bringing those two things together was fascinating, and I think really the key to this kind of perfect puzzle. And the other thing is it's generated a real awesome conversation, not just about film, but about science. Like, if people are reading more about the theory of relativity and like Sagan and stuff like that because of this movie, then fucking heck, like, that's awesome. It's just a great movie. And actually, to bring up one thing about Casey Affleck's character, he at least represented the man who settles, and then there were people like Murph and Michael Caine's character as well settles. Then there's characters like Murphy and characters like Cooper who are the pioneers, and it kind of represents the two polar opposites, which is why I think he was developed the way he was. But yeah, it's I just think it's a real masterpiece of cinema, and I do think it's Nolan's best.
All right, Cole.
All right. Yeah, when I think of this movie, I'm going to remember the acting, the emotions that I felt watching it, the visuals, and the experience of watching this film. I would give it a 5 out of 5 stars. And after the year is over, my scores tend to change, but like when I think of this year, the movies that really have stuck in my mind are Boyhood and Interstellar. So I know those two aren't going to change because it was the experience I had in the theaters, nothing I felt uh, throughout the rest of this year or in years past. So yeah, I really loved Interstellar. I can't wait to go see it again. I'm going to buy it immediately on Blu-ray, and I'm going to watch it 5 more times after that.
The script is available on Amazon if you guys want to pick that up.
Oh, really?
Cool.
Kale.
I'll be checking that out.
Kale.
On me. Sorry. Yeah, I loved the film, but well, I wouldn't say I loved it. I did like it, but I'd say 4 out of 5 for me. Like, I mean, it was my most anticipated film of the year, and it delivered for the most part. But if Christopher Nolan isn't nominated for a director Oscar for this, I'll feel pretty downbeat because he should have been nominated for Inception as well. But if Alfonso Cuarón could be nominated for Gravity, why not Christopher Nolan for this? I'd say this is probably even more ambitious than that film. You know? Also, how did you guys feel about Hans Zimmer's score? 'Cause I found it very haunting.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Best to date.
Best he's done for me ever.
Whenever he's working with Nolan, it's his best.
Mm.
Yeah.
Magic.
It's better than the Amazing Spider-Man score.
Let Kale finish.
Yeah, I'd have to say Inception's probably my favorite score of his, but this one I'll definitely buy it as soon as it comes out, the soundtrack and the Blu-ray too. But it just, as you guys said before, it just encourages discussion. That's I think the beauty of it. Like, while it might be divisive, people are talking about it, you know, and that's the thing. It's ambitious, but yeah, I'll have to see it another time, a second time, and also like within like see it, I'll revisit it like 5 years time, 10 years time. Like it might change, you know. But the thing about it is, it's the discussion. That's all I can really add to that.
All right, so that's a positive review, Kale?
Yeah, it is a positive review. 4 out of 5.
Wait, I have a better question. How many people do you think are going to copy Hans Zimmer's score of this? That usually happens with all this.
Yeah.
We're still seeing the Inception bong in trailers now. So.
Like,
all right, Alex.
Don't like
Alex,
The Dark Knight changed my life when I saw it, so that I don't think anything's ever going to beat it. But it is probably my second favorite of his now, and then Inception's number 3, and like Batman Begins number 4 and that sort of stuff. But it has probably, like, my 2 favorite scenes of the year is one of the scenes of Birdman, which I won't spoil if you guys haven't seen that one, and then this one is the sequence. There's 2. Is the sequence when he realigns the ship after Matt Damon blows up, basically. That line, "This is impossible." No, it's necessary. And then he lines it up. I loved that. But I also loved the sequence when he says goodbye to Murph, and we hear the countdown, and we see her running out. She should get nominated for Best Supporting Actress for that. And then we hear Michael Caine's poem, not Michael Caine's, but the poem for the first time in the movie. That entire sequence was, I think, the best Nolan has ever been in a movie. Was that bit. So yeah, I would give it a 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10, that sort of stuff if I had to.
Okay, so that makes 7 positive reviews for Interstellar from our panelists, and I'm going to make that 8 positive reviews. I'm giving this a big see it. I did nitpick some things in the movie that bothered me a little bit, but I cannot say enough about. This is a home run swing for Christopher Nolan, despite the little things that I said were bad and ugly about the film that I didn't like. But everything overwhelms all of that. All the good, everything else that they've done in this movie overwhelms all those little nitpicky things that I said were bad and ugly. This is an absolute masterpiece. I said it before. He better get a nomination for Best Picture and Best Director for Christopher Nolan. I just want to say thank you to all the panelists that came on board for this Interstellar discussion. I'm going to go down the line. Rusika, did you want to say something?
I was just gonna say something Alex just touched on. Something people are kind of divided on too. The child actors. I just want to know what everyone thought about them. I personally thought they were really good, but I've heard a lot of people say that they didn't like them.
Oh,
So,
I thought the daughter was fantastic. I thought she did an amazing performance. The young boy, I thought he was really good, but I didn't gravitate to him as much as I did to the daughter. I thought she was outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I second that. It's Murphy's story. So I mean, it's Murphy and Coop's story, which is why you got more Murphy and Coop. But yeah, I agree that Mackenzie Rowe,
Mackenzie Foy, yeah.
Boy.
best supporting actress nomination. There haven't been many performances like this.
Yeah.
No.
Who would you say, George, for best supporting actress or actor?
The
I
girl
didn't
who
hear.
plays young Murph, I would nominate her in a heartbeat for best supporting actress. There haven't been that many great supporting actors.
Wait, George, can I ask something? Do you think she was better? She here for performance than Jessica Chastain
I
as
would give it
Murphy?
to her over Chastain.
Yeah, and also she had more to do emotionally than Chastain did for me. But that could just be me.
I thought she was the best child actor out of all the Nolan films.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Well, I'm going to go down the same list, the same Tyler, Rachel, Rasika, George, Cole, Dale, and Alex. Tell everybody where you can be located, and go ahead, Tyler.
Okay, well, if you go on the Schmoble Facebook fan page, I'm there as the admin, and on Twitter you can find me at Myers FTW. That's MYERS FTW. And I just recently started my own movie blog called movieguyty.wordpress.com, where you can find my review of Interstellar on that site. No spoilers.
Cool.
We just discussed them.
I'm just on Facebook and Twitter. My name, Rachel J. Cushing.
I'm on Facebook. Just type in Rosca. I'm probably the first one. Not many Roscas out there. I'm on Twitter at the Lovely Possum.
You can find me on Twitter at GC McKinnon.
You can find me on YouTube and Facebook, Cole Boone, and on Twitter at CTBoone57.
Okay. Me? Oh, yeah. You can find me at Facebook and on Twitter at CTC82. Thanks, guys.
How do you say it again? Cahal?
Cahal, that's it. You got it, man. Silent T. It's Irish. It's one of them names, man.
T is silent.
You can find me.
Smallville.
The D is silent. You can find me on Twitter at NeverSayDie97, because Goonies never say die. You can find me every day on schmelzno.com as the managing editor of the site, constantly posting articles and stuff like that. Probably be posting something Interstellar related in the coming week. And you can find me in my own podcast for the Cinema Minds movie podcast, and that's it.
Hey, can I just say real quick, props to Alex. You write some really awesome articles on that page.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, good job.
You can find me at my name, Dan Scafallon, on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, at The Best Damn Movie Show with my co-host Vinny LaSpada on Facebook and YouTube, and also on my own page on website From the Fourth Row at WordPress.com. I just want to say, if anybody's watching this or sees this video, if you like what we did in this Interstellar discussion, you want to see more, please comment and like this video. It'll be showing up on the Profiles Facebook page. And thank you to all my panelists. That is our discussion, all the insights we can give you on Interstellar. Have a good night.
Cool.